Lunaris Lanente has escaped the death house, but an explosion soon follows the abyssal tentacle that dragged the four-storied structure into the dungeon below. Though unscathed, the celestial-blooded paladin now stands before a scorched fissure where Durst Manor once stood, the crevice cutting them off from the rest of their party. Of even greater concern, the purple flames that pepper the landscape and catch hold upon the forested area threatens to steal what hope they hold that their companion, Jax of Candlekeep, escaped with her life. At least that's the description I gave. Which I'm retconning immediately. As soon as I wrote it, I was like, that's too much detail. So we're going to fuck around with you guys first.
All right.
All right. Thanks for the deleted content.
You're welcome. Yeah, no. I don't know if I'll use it. I'm not sure. I do want to do a couple things first. Because where we left off, basically, Lunaris, you had escaped with the body of Mrs. Durst, the slightly overly massacred ghast that she was, yeah, you were on the front lawn, essentially. There's a big oak tree there where the kids were playing and stuff. It looks, for the most part, the same, almost, that you saw before, except quite a bit smaller, the building itself. But the lawn and everything, and there was a little, what do you call it, a little barn off in the far, what would be the north, I suppose, northeast corner of the side. But yeah, you had come out of the house as the tentacle was sort of rearing up and coming to the top of the house. You had managed to escape on the first floor.
That was the first one out.
Yeah. So as you are, basically out on the front lawn, you find that the actual foundation of where you're standing is beginning to slip from underneath of you. And that's partly obviously because of the massive tentacle that's coming out of the house and sucking the manor into the ground. But suddenly a rumbling can be heard below you. And the earth seems to shake anew than just what is happening as the house is beginning to sink into the ground. What would you like to do?
Insight, maybe? Try and figure out, like, what if that rumbling is...
Yeah, go ahead and give me a probably perception, actually. Insight tends to be more of like trying to figure out people and what their motives are, whether they're lying or telling the truth, that kind of stuff. So perception is more of a broad perception of your physical surroundings and deducing what those might be.
15.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't get too much detail out of it. You recognize that there is definitely something else happening than just the crazy, kraken-like tentacle going down. But you can't from this this vantage or from where you are right now exactly tell what's going on.
Okay. Well, I guess my thoughts go to if everyone else made it out all right. Do I see Grimbald and Kinyaa'áanii?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. All right. Well, I know part of the curse is what we were trying to resolve. So is there any way that I can bury this corpse?
Sure. So just to paint you a little bit of picture, you're probably within, let's say, 30 feet of the house right now. Do you want to stay there? Do you want to retreat back further towards, like, say, because basically you're on you're the closest to the road right now. Essentially, you're probably.
I do want to get back a little bit. The ground is very unstable, so I don't want to.
Perfect. Awesome. Give me a... Actually, no. So as you're kind of backing away, obviously the house is sinking to the ground. The rumble begins to become more and more severe until suddenly the house and everything around it begins to erupt in flames. You recognize very quickly that these flames are not natural, that they are purple. It actually licks and scorches up the tentacle itself, igniting the air with the sudden inburst of oxygen to the flames. And it causes the entire ground below you to like essentially
drop a couple feet.
It kind of lifts up and then drops suddenly. I will give you one chance to make a let's say it's an
acrobatics.
Let's give acrobatics. Yes, it's going to be an acrobatics.
Okay. And you said I don't have my level 3 stuff yet.
Did that make a big difference? Yeah, it did. No, I'll say you're still kind of yeah. You'll just basically have to do your straight. Yeah, it would have made a huge difference actually.
Yeah, I know. All right. Let's do this.
So just a straight acrobatics.
Well, I failed. Under 10. Right. Not
no
one,
problem.
Though, so
no problem. Yeah, so the ground basically heaves. You feel your footing give way all of a sudden, and you're rising about 10 feet in the air, and all of a sudden it just drops and it explodes up from in front of you as purple flames reach the sky. There's a fissure that basically comes to where the house is. It goes all the way to the tree line on the left, all the way to the tree line on the right, and it's about 40 feet. But you don't really have much time to figure that out, because as you fall to darkness, your body being covered in rubble and everything like that, and you black out. And I won't tell you how much hit points you lose for now.
Lovely.
All right. Oh yeah, I suppose I should do this actually. Just give me
a thing. I still have my
hands. Sure. So for those who aren't aware, these are just sort of the themed artifact cards from before the Tarocca cards that they pulled that kind of describe them, and I just put them up there just as a little fun thing.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So we'll just go over quickly to our good friend
Chanel.
Jax of
This will be interesting.
I'm terrified, honestly.
I do love the moving avatars.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're really cool, Zell. I'm really impressed.
Good. I'm glad you guys like them. Yes. Jax, the last thing you remember is the most agonizing pain you've ever felt in your life. Your own flames seem to eat away at your own flesh. Not only your flesh, but your very soul becomes seared. You lose all sense of time. All you feel is pain and suffering. It is very clear to you that the energies and the power that is being sort of accessed into you by this this entity that seems to have connected with you is way more than any mortal could possibly hope, at least without any sort of gradual experience, could ever hope to withstand. And suddenly you blank out. You find it cool, dark, and it takes who knows how long before you find yourself in a familiar spot. You see a familiar staircase that goes up and out into the heavens beyond time and space from what you can tell, and at the very top is a tiny pinprick of light, a single star giving light of blue and white sort of energy. It gives no warmth, and before you is where you remember waking up the first time, and in front of you is an image of yourself. You are sort of crouched down, looking off to the side, and what you're seeing is actually a statue of pure marble. There's a look of horror and pain on your face as you are turned away from the light itself. You kind of look down at your own body and you realize that you're sort of solid to some degree, but very ephemeral. It sort of mixes with the kind of fog around you. And it's very disconcerting to see yourself in this state. What would you like to do?
Can I roll perception to see if there's anything that I like sense or feel or
Sure. Yeah.
Anything extra, maybe?
Extra.
Anything I extra perceive, you know?
You're so extra.
Any feelings? I rolled a 1. Wow. I'm so perceptive right now.
You are
plus 1. I got a 2. I got a total 2.
You're actually not even sure how long you've been staring at this marble statue. You can't even tell whether or not that's you, and you're kind of having this weird out of body experience. You are just completely overwhelmed. You're, for a lack of a better word, fried. You're totally fried from the experience. You're dazed, confused.
Okay.
You can't tell how long time has passed.
Okay.
And it isn't until, it could be minutes, it could be hours, for all you know, that a somewhat familiar figure comes to join you and lands on the shoulder of your marble statue. A raven, though more reminiscent of, say, like a raven patronus from Harry Potter, sort of alights, kind of fluttering, and it startles you to some degree out of your stupor, and it lands on your marble statue, showing that, of course, that is somewhat solid, and you are not necessarily fully corporeal yourself. And it has a characteristic third eye, kind of glowing and gleaming, but instead of a dark raven, it is more energy, very ethereal in nature. And it has something of a scowl on its face, although it's more like a cool, calculated disapproval than it is like any sort of hatred or anything on its face. And it just sort of looks at the marble statue up and down for a moment, and then looks at you and doesn't say anything. Just stares.
Well, I'm gonna walk up to the statue.
All right.
And I'm gonna do a Jax move. I'm gonna touch the statue.
All right. Sounds good. As you touch the statue, you have a sudden fit of vision. Your head arcs back, and you see a crevice approximately 40 feet deep of the earth that's been scorched raw. There are live fires that would be normal fires, spotted also with these purple magical flames all throughout. And in the distance, you see the figure of your companion, Lunaris Lanente, crumpled to the ground, half covered by rock and rubble in a fallen oak tree. And then you come back to yourself. Having touched it, you are racked with pain for a moment at the sudden solidity of the experience, where when you're here, it seems extremely distant. You don't even know if you yourself, as you are even real. And so the contrast of those experiences shakes you for a moment. But yeah.
All right. And I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna say out loud, Poe, where are we? And see if Poe has any reaction.
The raven kind of cocks its head and answers in that I don't have my voice changer or anything on. I might add it later.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, the raven sort of cocks its head, and even though it looks like Poe once did, it sort of echoes you, almost kind of parroting in a sense. Poe. Poe. Who is Poe? Ah, yes, you mean the raven. Don't you understand what has happened?
Oh, I don't understand anything.
Well, did you not see the landscape? You destroyed everything, Jax of Candlekeep.
I did that?
Well, the potential of what you are did that. I promised I would help if I could. The unfortunate thing is, you are indeed mortal, perhaps unsuitable to be my champion.
I don't understand what you mean. Your champion?
There's sort of a, not necessarily a sigh, but he kind of croons a little bit, as a raven might, and sort of tisks you a little bit and says, "There's much you do not understand. Much that is happening in this land of Barovia. What you see before you is, I suppose a stairway might suffice, but a bridge would be more accurate. A bridge from where I am to where you are, in the mists. And there's some play that can be had within our realms. I understand that there are forces, dark forces, occurring where you are, vying for power, vying for control. And I'm interested in the knowledge that these dark forces have, interested in what they hope to gain. My desire has been and always shall be for knowledge. I had hoped that calling you here, having you engage with the others, would afford me more knowledge. But alas, he kind of stops for a moment and looks at your marble statue and kind of pecks at it a little bit. Something or someone else seems to be interfering. Perhaps this is good. Perhaps this is bad. But what I can tell you are two things. The first thing is, you destroyed Poe. You did all this havoc, your wild magics that you tap into so casually, and my attempt at keeping you alive, yes, may have had some part to play in that, but the consequences were certainly not what I expected. Unfortunately, as I was embodying the vessel of Poe, your raven, as what you see here, that vessel is gone, struck by your fire. I am all that is essentially left of Poe, although, being a raven, such as he was, it's just a form.
Fix this. Can I fix this?
I'm afraid that what is occurring to you right now is beyond my measure of fixing it, and it is certainly beyond yours. Perhaps we might watch together. The raven lands upon your shoulder this time, and you once again kind of see into the real world, and you see the body of Lunaris Lanente begin to move. And Yeah. So we'll switch over to you, Lunaris.
Okie dokie. Do my best to take the rubble off of me if I can move.
Good. Just give me 2 seconds to switch out this for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lunaris, you come to and you look up and kind of gather yourself. The tree that you were next to almost certainly saved your life, even though half the branches are on fire and everything like that. It seems that you got caught up by some of the roots as it fell into the ground. Your leg is essentially like causing you to dangle, but it's all tied up in roots right now.
Okay.
And it kind of slid like a mudslide, although like a landslide more specifically, into this crevice. The havoc and destruction around you is far greater than you could possibly imagine. You've never seen a force of destruction like this before. You are in about 40 feet down into this decimated crevice. You see rubble. You see this strange goo, like sort of purple, pinkish blood, viscous blood looking stuff. Pieces of this tentacle that seem to have been severed or burnt, charred all over the place. Part of the house's roof seems to have collapsed in on itself here. You see no sign of anybody else, but what you do see about 40 or 50 yards into the clearing is a solid white marble statue. It's about 40 yards from you, so you can't quite tell what it is from here.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
That's interesting. Okay. I guess you said that it's kind of like a ways away. Can I get to it?
Yeah, it's going to take you. It's rough terrain. It's a little bit rocky still. It seems very unstable. There's still peppered fires all over the place, scorched earth. So it'll take you a little while longer to get there, about double the time that it would normally, but it would take you, let's say, a couple of minutes anyway, as you kind of not only dust yourself off. You are still quite injured from your fall. We'll say you're at about 5 hit points.
Okay.
But for the most part, you have survived. The body of Mrs. Durst is nowhere to be seen. Whether it got covered in the landslide or what have you. But yeah, that seems to be a piece that has not. It's not very clear where that would be right now.
Okay. Well, I hope that she's resting in peace and at least she's out of the house. So the statue, does it look like this may have been like a part of that house, or is this something that was uncovered by like the landslide?
It looks like, from your bearings, it looks like it's something that was either in or produced or something like that. On the dungeon level, essentially where you are is at the dungeon, the second dungeon level. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I will go ahead.
My way to it.
Show you what you see. As you get clearer, you notice that some of the clothes have been sort of sheared off, and it seems like the marble is kind of only partially made to some degree, and out of the clothes, the marble clothes, as you walk toward it, you notice that there are flames licking up and out from the crown on the top and out of part of the robes that are left over. And it is very, very unmistakably the image, a marble statue of one Jax of Candlekeep, her face struck in utter terror. Part of her purple flame seems to be leaking out of her robe, but there's also an uncharacteristic sort of bluish, kind of purplish glow on the crown of her as well.
Okay. So is this, oh my God, so is this Jax with the purple flames, is she petrified? Is this what I'm thinking?
To some degree, yeah. It seems as if something or somehow she has become a marble statue.
Oh my goodness.
But it seems like she's caught in between that transformation. It looks horrifically real, as if, like, say, a basilisk or something, where it was that was the last thing she saw, a dragon or something that could cause this level of petrification. She is clearly in utter terror.
Oh my goodness. I've only really heard about the petrification in books. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. Oh.
Yeah, you would have heard something like that in your studies of religion as well.
I don't know what to do. I know I'm hurt myself, but all of my celestial being, it's going into wanting to heal her, but I don't know if that's going to help or not. I don't exactly have a remove petrification or anything like that.
You suddenly find that it's a little after dawn at this time.
Okay.
You find that the clouds sort of lift a little bit, and you are absolutely certain that there's a presence somewhere near you.
Can I use my divine sense to detect good and evil?
Sure can.
I will do that within 60 feet.
Yeah, it is extremely clear to you that there is a celestial being right behind you and about 30 or 40 feet away.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I was gonna shout out there. Please, if anyone's out there that can help, I ask in the name of Helm, help my friend.
You hear a twinkling at first, and then you realize it's actually the sound of laughter. Not derogatory in any way, but more like you said something funny and awkward. The way you said something, it's just taken as, oh, that's kind of cute.
Okay.
Do you turn towards the source of the divine? So it's just behind you, basically. Just
I'll take a look and
all right.
See.
Okay. The first time she appeared to you, this figure was of a young girl, approximately 12 or 13 years old, and emanating an aura of pristine, childlike beauty. Her delicate features and radiant presence gave her an otherworldly air, and she seemed to embody a tenuous and fragile connection to you, distant as a dream, like she existed only on the peripheral of ethereal purity. Porcelain skin seemed untouched by imperfections, and her eyes shone pale silver with a glimmer of hope and innocence. Her attire consisted of flowing stark white dress that seemed to mimic the graceful movements of clouds, emphasizing her celestial nature. And I'll show you what you saw the first time in the reliquary when you touched the solid block
I
of
figured.
marble. This is who you saw very, very briefly, kind of like in a dream. And she cupped her hand hand to your face, and it was very cool, but gentle. And this, show you a second. That is not the creature you see before you now. Whatever she was before, it was a thought, the briefest glimpse of a utopian concept that is perfect beauty in the barest of mortal forms. The being here before you is much more real, warmer and alive, though still alien in her purity. What was once still a child now shows adolescence having firmly taken hold. Perhaps closer to 14 and 15, she has long flowing hair that cascades like rays of sunlight. Those perfect silver orbs now have a depth to them that are no longer just piercing, but promise that they see the depths of you. In a statement, you have never seen such beauty in a creature before. She now embodies the essence of delicate china, with a fragility in appearance that contrasts to the resilience of her demeanor, as she exudes an air of elegance. And this is what she sees now. And she's standing about 40 feet from you. And she has a very slight sort of smile, sort of, as you make contact. But then she looks to Jax in just the briefest sadness that almost pulls at your heart just to see it on her perfect face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just casts a slight gloom on her face just for a moment. And she says, "Hello, Lunaris."
How do you know my name?
Again, that sort of tinkling laughter. And she takes a few steps closer to you, almost afraid that you're going to be scared of her, trying to be gentle as she approaches. Her presence is like almost painfully beautiful to look at.
So with that, I essentially like kneel down and like avert my eyes. And also, I was thinking, can I use? Did you say what her name was or anything in particular?
She
Okay.
hasn't shared anything yet. No.
Can I use my religion to see if I know or recognize anything?
Sure.
Of who the celestial beings?
Sure. Go ahead.
Put it in the box. Shake the box. And open the box. 15 plus 1. 16.
You're pretty confident that description of a being like this before is one of the something like an angel, a Vega, or a servant of one of the higher celestial gods. You're not sure which one. They have been heard of all over the place in different lores and stuff. They often come in different personas or different, what would you say? Yeah, I guess different forms. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly what she is, but you're pretty certain, especially because you've looked through with your sight, that she is celestial in nature for sure.
Got it.
She smiles as you kneel down, and she slowly comes up to you and places a cool hand on your shoulder and says, "Ever the gallant, I do think that your service to maintaining honor and glory are to be cherished. Beauty in and of themselves, in the heart. I knew and have been watching you for some time since you've arrived here. I am what some call the evening glory. That is the name that has been given to me, that I have taken upon myself. I have sought out a champion and have decided, after a long time, that I should choose you. I saw you fight for those who have done nothing but evil. This act of heroism, sacrifice, despite how they would never have done so for you, is a trait that I cannot look past. And your friend Jax, I saw her at the precipice of death, and this is all I could do to try and save her. Unfortunately, it's almost beyond my power. I was sent here, exiled, and a lot of my abilities to anchor her soul seem corrupted by some other force. I saved her body as best I can, but I lack the necessary anchor and connection in this realm, which is why I've come to you. Not just to save your friend, but because I think you are gallant and honorable. And together, we could save Borovia.
That is what I wish. At this moment, I feel responsible for Jax in the state that she was in. I feel that I should have went back for her.
She sort of smiles a sad smile and says, Jax of Candlekeep is a beautiful being. Perhaps, though the countenance on her face now is of horror and terror, I wonder, perhaps she's safer this way. I'm afraid that whatever was done to her mind and her soul, despite what I've done to try and help her body, to preserve it, that the consequences, I dare not say. Will you help her?
I will do everything that I can to be able to help bring her back. Tell me what I should do.
She holds out her hand very delicately to you and says, take my hand.
I freely take her hand, reach out.
All right, we're going to go back to Jax now. As you do that. So Jax.
Yes.
You saw this episode kind of play out. Suddenly it is wrenched from you very quickly and violently. The image of what you look like as a marble statue is different here in this realm. It's sort of like still in pain, but it's crouched and it's looking away from the smallest pinprick of light up in the sky there.
Mm-hmm.
But what you saw in the mortal realm, from what you can tell, is what it is, was indeed horrifying. Poe, or at least this white raven, flies back to your marble statue, and he kind of looks at you and says, interesting. I never expected such a being to interfere. It does seem indeed that she at least preserved your mortal body.
Who is she? Do you know her?
I know of her, yes. The Evening Glory.
The Evening Glory. Do I have any knowledge of what she might be, based on any of my reading?
Do you have religion?
I have only one religion. +1 for religion. I don't have a religion. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not proficient. So, so you're like, as you kind of get something of a sense that she's clearly a very powerful being, otherworldly. But yeah, other than that, you don't really know. You've never heard the name Evening Glory before.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Can she help me?
Perhaps. I suppose it depends on how you mean.
I want to go back. I want to help everyone. I want to fix what I did.
Fix what you did. Do you not yet realize what you are, Jax of Candlekeep?
I'm just a fire genocide. I'm nobody special.
Nobody special. Perhaps. In the longest scheme of things. a single mortal along the plains of material nature. Perhaps they are just an amalgamation of love and energies that coincide and then burn out. But you could be so much more.
I don't understand what you mean.
I know. To answer your question more directly, yes, this glory can save your body. And in her doing so, you would return. But who you are right now, you are simply a shadow of who you were. The experience that you've just gone through, this place, whether a construct of your mind or a real bridge to who I am, it is not something that can go back with you easily. To do so, I fear, would drive you mad. I am, to some degree, let's say I'm not being kind about it, but more that you are an interesting person, and I want to know more of how you might serve me and my aims in Barovia. If I allow her to bring you back, I'm afraid your magics that go back with you will do little more than consume not just you, but all of your friends.
Meaning if I go back, I will kill everyone?
Possibly. To be frank, as vast as my knowledge is, one of the reasons why I chose you as my champion for knowledge is because you yourself are something of a mystery. The weave of wild magics that you tap into responds to you in a very unique way. I seek to understand this. It is something I was attempting to harness, or shall we say, truly understand, with great and fearful results, as you can have seen. I don't see how sending you back, or what was, shall we say, put in stasis, how that won't simply continue as soon as you enter your mortal form once more.
Then what happens if I just stay here?
You will stay here. You will remain here, in this place. You can visit me if you wish. I can share with you knowledge over time. Each step that you see here is a step of knowledge. And as you can see, it is vast. He kind of looks up, and the immensity of exactly how deep and how far into the cosmos that these steps go, it appears for all intents and purposes eternal.
Then what will happen to my friends? What will happen to Barovia?
He seems to kind of ponder that for a moment, and he says, My purpose in choosing you was to understand precisely what powers were vying for control. I have some understanding of this realm. And very few, if I should sum up, who ever enter Barovia ever escape. The powers that lay beyond this realm, let alone the power and the lord that conquers it, that is in charge of it, they are not to be trifled with. Without you, more specifically, without the knowledge that I have to give, and without understanding the aims of these other dark powers, I fear the result will be no different than the many more that have walked these mists before.
Then I have to go back. Either way, there's a risk, so I must go back.
I have lost my anchor to your world. As I mentioned, you destroyed Poe in the flames. This is the last vestige that exists of that being, that animal that I merged with. I have a proposition for you, should you wish to hear it.
I'm listening.
Allow me to merge with you. Become my vessel, my champion. I will do what I can to stabilize your mind with the journey back. Together, as we work, and perhaps with the aid of this evening glory, you will not simply survive, but perhaps overcome the trial ahead. But as I said before, it could be very painful.
And what happens when you're done with me?
I'm not sure I understand.
You merge with me until I die someday, or just until you find what you're looking for? And
Should you become my champion, you would become my champion for good.
if that's what it takes to save everyone, then I'll do it.
As you wish. Once more, the raven sort of floats off your marble form and lands on your shoulder. But as it does so, it grows very similar to what it did before. Its white wings spread out massively and then cover you. And as it does so, it seems to seep its being inside of you. You can feel your flame suddenly alight. What was once purple now spits and ignites here and there as this strange sort of merging of this raven form comes into your body. It is just as painful as before. Your fire seems to react to it for some reason, sort of like a natural defense mechanism as it flares up. And as it does so, the wings grow larger and press deeper into you. And you can feel your mind begin to slip away as the pain begins to overwhelm you. And we'll go back to Lunaris for the moment. The evening glory takes your hand and places her other hand on your on top of yours, Lunaris. And she says, I have tenets of those who become my champion, of those knights and those gallant soldiers that follow me, that they must adhere to. I expect you to do no less. If you accept me as your patron, as my and that you become my champion, these are the things that must be done, and you will give me your word.
I give you my word. I will become your champion, and I will follow through with the things that must be done.
Very well. My tenets are these. There are actions over words that must be given. You must strive to have the glory of your Lord, what would she say? You must strive to have the glory of myself and my tenets be known, not simply by your mouth, but by your actions. Swear it.
I swear it. I swear to take the action needed.
Recognize that challenges are but tests. Facing hardships with courage are necessary. You must encourage not just your allies to face them with you, but you yourself must understand through me precisely what must be overcome in the moment. Swear it.
I swear it with all my being.
Strength and honor also come through one's body. Yours is like that of raw stone that must be shaped, molded, chiseled into the work of art that you, yes, already are, but uncover the potential that must be realized so that you may show yourself as the champion of the evening glory. Swear it.
I swear it. I'll gladly become your champion and bring this oath of you to my allies and those I set forth to save.
And finally, there is the discipline of the soul, which is like granite, steadfast and unwavering. You must marshal the discipline to overcome failings within yourself that threaten to dim the glory of myself and of your friends, the destiny, the fate that you have. In times of hardship, I will come to you, and I will tell you what the right path is. It is this discipline of trust and in the soul that you must imbibe and follow through at all costs. Now, swear it. Her voice sort of becomes very serious about this one. It's not tinkling and light. It is like piercing and almost like a command that should you break this one tenet, there clearly comes a weight of consequence to it.
I swear within the celestial blood within my veins. I swear to adhere to these tenets.
Very well. Rise, night of the evening glory.
I stand with her hands in mine and I stare into everything that she is.
As you look at her face, you see a sudden flash of concern, and it kind of draws you back to the statue of Jax. You notice that the flames within seem to be leaking out more and more, mainly from her headdress, and I'll even bring it back up here in a second. From her hair and from her her hairpiece, essentially, what she had there, but also from her gown. It gets larger and larger, and give me a second. Glory says, "Quickly, you must grasp your friend. The powers that I've used to maintain this form are beginning to degrade, and she needs your help as an anchor. As you anchor me, I shall flow the rest of my energies to stabilize her."
All right. I'll do that and just kind of say to myself, have courage. And I cast my last spell for Cure Wounds on myself for a D8 plus 2.
Sounds good.
5.
Okay.
Total. So I'm at 10. And then I, with both my hands, grasp the statue of Jax and I guess instinctively dump all of my lay on hands and healing hands into her.
All right. You recognize that the form of the evening glory sort of has faded out, but you feel her hands sort of on your back, and even underneath your armor, sort of this cool celestial power on your skin, pressed into your shoulders. And you can feel it empower you. Where your hands touch, the pain is there as before, initially, as you begin to use your own energies. But it's quickly subsided by this powerful energy. You recognize that what had been happening before, apparently, that the evening glory this entire time has been sort of helping you channel your celestial energies from before when you were using them,
I figured.
to mitigate some of your pain. And the pain is suddenly sort of replaced with this intense pleasure. Not, anything unpure, but just truly awe-inspiring and more brilliant than you've ever experienced your own energies have given you before whenever you've helped people and stuff. Yeah, to some degree, yeah. You can just recognize sort of a pureness to the celestial energy that before, especially being in this place, had been somewhat corrupted or overcome. You no longer see a sickly green. You see a pure silver light coming out of your hands. And as you do so, you can suddenly see the eyes of Jax begin to melt from marble to clear. You can tell that her eyes are wide and fearful, but she clearly is more or less present and alive. Jax, as you are feeling this intense pain of your own fire energies wrestle with this intensely overwhelming power of this being, of this entity, you suddenly feel yourself, feel your own body begin to come back to you. And the first thing you see is Lunaris, behind them, a silhouette of angelic wings spread behind them in silver as they look into your eyes. Their own eyes looking deeply into you, glowing with a deep silver light, as they seem to be pressing into your form. You can tell that there's a mixture of pain that was originally there in their eyes, but now there's determination before you. Give me a death saving throw, please.
That's my 20, right?
Yes, just a straight D20.
Okay. 13.
Okay. Lunaris, you see the marble sort of peel away from Jax's face, and out comes a silent scream. It's clear that whatever's going on with her is on a level of torture and pain that you've never seen before in an individual. It's frightening at first, but there is that cool celestial energy at your back, pressing you forward and pushing through. You hear Glory's voice in your mind, and it says, "Remember your tenets. Trust, have faith, have courage."
Thank you for everything. I will be sure to honor my oath.
Jax, you feel your face and your eyes and your senses begin to come back to you. There is a roaring that seems to be coming from deep within, maybe even from the realm that you've just come from. You're very aware of the physical now, and though the pain is still there, you are certainly more anchored than you were before. You hear the voice of this being, and it says, "Go against your natural instincts, Jax of Candlekeep. Accept me as your lord. Say my name."
Do I know the name?
No.
I was like, am I supposed to know that?
I'm doing a little trickery on you here.
Say my name, say my name.
How would you like to try and recall this being's name, even though you are pretty sure you've never heard it before?
Probably in nothing that I've read, I'm assuming. Would I just have, like, because I now have a connection with it, would I have any kind of insight? Like, I'm assuming this is like a two-way connection, not just a one-way thing. Would I have any kind of insight into its own thought?
Yep.
So I could know its name?
Yep, I think that's probably the right way to go.
Okay.
Because you kind of figured that out, I'll give you advantage on this. So roll your insight.
Okay. Inspiration.
14, 15, 17.
Okay, cool. You just intuitively recognize that the presence of this being, of this entity, is in some sense part of you now. And as you reach out for that, recognizing that your natural body's desire to fight it off, almost like a virus of some kind that's kind of almost rewriting what you are, kind of invading what you are, you instead press into it and seek out what your name is, what this thing's name is. And you get the letter K. The backlash of your body erupts again. Lunaris, flames begin to press into your hands, and you can feel the burning that's there. You know that if you hold for any longer, that you will start taking damage at this point. What would you like to do?
I'm definitely holding on. There's a reason why I tried to heal myself. Because I expected this.
All right. Jax, give me another death saving throw, please.
Did my mic pick me up?
Oh, nope.
Oh, sorry. 16.
16? Okay.
I was looking at your face and I'm like, either they didn't hear me or he's thinking.
I guess I want to double check just for your previous check too. Was 17 your highest roll? Did you roll twice, or was that just your first roll?
That was just my first roll.
Okay. Did you want to just roll again just to see if you got higher than 17?
Sure. 19.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just make sure. You Jax, you find your body beginning to come back to itself. You feel the rigidity of your arms begin to lessen more and more, and you are slowly able to move them again as this marbling that seems to have petrified your body slowly returns to a semblance of your own flesh. You recognize that your hands are wreathed in flames, and they ignite once more. They don't cause you personal damage or anything like that, but you realize that there's this war of purple and light blue flames fighting around you. Lunar, you experience this very same energy as Jax's arms begin to move and the flames erupt, suddenly causing you 3 points of damage. Lame. 2d6 only gives you 3 points of damage. Some bullshit there.
That could have easily killed me.
If you hadn't healed yourself, yeah.
I guess I could have healed myself more, but I felt like I needed to heal you because you're... Yeah.
Anyway. I appreciate it.
I had the one held, or the one spell, but yeah, go for it.
There is a sickening smell of your flesh beginning to burn. You kind of wince back for a second, saving a lot of your yourself from a lot of the damage that the flames might have done otherwise. But clearly, the hands on Jax's shoulders or torso, wherever you have her gripped, are suffering burns at this point.
Am I aware that Lunaris is touching me?
Yep. You guys can, like, your face is essentially back to normal. You're no longer in this petrified, screaming visage necessarily. Most of your lower body is still stuck fast in marble. The flames, however, out of your robe and behind you are also ignite in sort of an ignition state right now. But you can discourse if you want to.
And I'm still in pain, though, I'm assuming. Okay, so probably not a lot of discourse happening. Probably just a lot of screaming.
All right. This being inside your head goes, focus, Jax of Candlekeep. What is my name? Say the name of your lord. Say the name.
I need to keep digging deeper because I only have a K right now. Don't know how many letters we need, but we're gonna keep digging. So, do you want me to do insight again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. 17 again.
Okay. Go ahead and give me one more. I'll let you have the advantage.
10.
Okay. You're whether because you're connecting with it or by some concert of this being working with you, your mouth opens and it says "Kier," and that's all you get. You know it's not done yet, but you know that you're on the right track. As you do so, another scream erupts from your body as flames ignite once more. Go ahead and give me one more death saving throw, please.
A 2.
Well, at least it's not a 1, because that would have been bad. A natural 1 on a death saving throw gives you 2 fails, just for the record.
Oh my god.
There was a comment that, because I think Ian had said that if you get a natural 1, it kills you automatically. And I kind of just skipped over it, not really hearing it. But the comment in I think it was my first video. Well, somebody had commented saying, whoa, hold the phone. They don't die right away. You just get 2 fails. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that's totally the rule. I just really didn't listen to Ian. What Ian was saying, I was agreeing with his first part about if you get a natural 20, you automatically stabilize. So as you're screaming, there is a massive backlash. You haven't made any progress at all, but you recognize that the flames have gone from your hands up your arms, and it's making contact now with Lunar's hands that suddenly begin to burn. Lunar, what would you like to do?
I gotta keep holding on. And I'm just gonna kind of like shut my eyes and just remember, hone the body, face courage, discipline the soul, and just kind of hold on for dear life.
All right. You take 9 points of damage as you feel your body begin to fail. Your arms are now blackened, licked from flames that are clearly magical in nature. You feel your mind wavering until you suddenly hear once more Glory's voice. She goes, "Stay strong. You can do this." And a sudden influx of energy, celestial energy, boosts you. You not only get healing, but you feel your very core energy or being seem to become stronger. You see this silver light come from your own chest out and under your armor that's getting licked from the flames, and it's pushing back, healing you just as fast as you are getting hurt. It's still extremely painful at this moment, but you can tell that some kind of transformation is happening in your body at the moment as well.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, right. that 9 did bring me below 0.
Yeah. So for mechanically, what I'm doing here is I'm making it make sense of how you go from level 2 to level 3 without there actually being a whole lot of like training happening for you to get any of these abilities. So this is me trying to make sense of why you guys are getting a level up anyway. So, so for those who are interested, I don't like the idea of, going from level 1 to level 3 in literally a 48-hour period. Well, like a 72-hour period, essentially. It's like a third day.
Yeah, we slept a couple times.
So there has to be some kind of sensical reason why you guys are getting this boost in power.
I like it. I'm curious to see the other people's.
So, once more, Jax. This time, you recognize that the wings of the raven, there's a flash, and you recognize that like tendrils of energy, they dig deep into your body and into your soul, and seem to tie themselves deep within you. Your body lashes out once more, but there is a much firmer command. Who am I? Say my name, Jax of Candlekeep.
All right. We're digging in. Let's see.
Insight, please.
15?
You know with great certainty that the name of this entity is Kirad. What's
Kirad?
more, Kirad, yeah. So I can spell
Okay.
it for you. Give me a second.
Yeah, please.
It's Khirad.
Okay.
The more you think on it, the more the knowledge of the cosmos seems to come with you. The knowledge that this being, of what exactly it is, it petrifies you just how powerful it is, how much knowledge it truly has. Your mortal mind cannot, in any way, shape, or form, house that much knowledge. It starts to unravel you. The pain of the flames, it's nothing compared to the knowledge of what the cosmos has in store for you. Not just you personally, but for any who were to lose themselves in the multiverse. The single staircase and the eternity that it would have taken you to climb to get that knowledge seems like an extremely nice, safe place at this point, because you are losing who you are to some degree. Give me one more death saving throw, please.
19.
The name Kirad seems to echo in your mind over and over and over again. The offer is made to you one last time. Yes, I am Kirad. Sorry, give me 2 seconds just to look this up. I am Kirad, the Star of Secrets. Good job. Good job. Good punctuation. That's good. I'm Kirad. Yeah.
Sneeze.
I snot all over you, my secrets.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I am Kirad, the Star of Secrets. Who am I, Jax of Candlekeep? Who am I?
Kirad, the Star of Secrets.
And who are you, Jax of Candlekeep?
I am Jax of Candlekeep.
The cosmos seems to pour into your mind, and it seems to shred the concept of who you are to pieces. You don't feel like who Jax was in the past is who you can be anymore. There's something calling, demanding an identity on you from now on. Go ahead and give me one more insight.
16.
Okay. You know that your identity from now on isn't servant, and that the identity of this Kirad is Lord. This is what is impressing upon you, and to deny this is to deny your existence. What would you like to do?
So, am I having to rename? I'm sorry. Am I renaming myself? Is that what I
Nope.
have to do?
Nope. There's
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what's essentially happening right now is your identity as a autonomous fire genocide or humanoid or mortal is basically being challenged. Who you are is either going to be Jax of Candlekeep, which is a singular, or you're going to accept on a deep fundamental level the lordship of this Kirad, Star of Secrets, and you will be the servant of Kirad from now on. So that's essentially what's going on here. Is there's a war between these two identities.
I feel like Jax wouldn't easily accept that, though.
Yep.
So, she's going to try and hold on to being Jax of Candlekeep.
Sounds good. All right. Lunar, you recognize that Jax's body, except for basically anything below the knees, is back to normal. But as the name, it seems, Kirid, utters from her mouth, her body arcs back and flames erupt anew all over her body. Your arms are now completely covered in fire, and it is excruciatingly painful.
Mm.
You take 12 points of damage. You are the healing that seems to be coming with you is pressing back as much as possible, but you can tell that even with the anchor that you are to the evening glory, that the healing is become less and less, that the energies are going to continue to pour out into Jax and undo the marble petrification. But you have a very real possibility of dying if you don't let go. You know this intuitively. What would you like to do?
Well, if I die now, it's not like I'd get very far if I let go now, so I'm going to keep on moving on.
Okay.
Risk it for a biscuit.
Jax, you find the rest of your body begin to come to you. The weight of the pain, not just of your flames, but of whatever is happening to your identity, is crushing you. You fall to your knees. You recognize that Lunaris has been grasping you, trying to hold you up, but they themselves are engulfed in flames. A scream is being let out from them, and you realize that the truth of what Kirid had told you before, that your magical energies are currently in the process of killing your companion, and for them to continue trying to help you, you know that they will die if they don't let go. Again, Kirid, with a simple statement of fact, says, "Be my servant, or destroy those who are trying to help you."
Well, Jax is not left with many choices. So, yeah, I agree, vodka.
That's some bullshit. That's what
That's exactly what I heard too.
You are Kirad, the Star of Secret, and I am Jax of Candlekeep, your servant.
With that, your flames begin to change their color. There is a slight pale, ghostly, light blue etherealness that comes to them. Lunar, you recognize that Jax is free of her petrification, and the flames that are looking at you no longer cause pain. You can't tell if that's because your own body has been seared, scorched.
It's just numb or whatever.
And is numb. But you realize that a certain calm overcomes Jax. Their right eye begins to take on this glow, and the flames no longer seem to cause them pain. They sort of calm, sort of like almost like an ocean current is waving them along their body. It doesn't seem to go away. It seems to be always present. Jax, your ordeal seems to solidify, and although there is a calmness that comes over you, you recognize that you've changed deeply. Though you are still to some degree autonomous. Who you are and who you were still have a hold to some degree. You also are keenly aware of this raven that sits on your shoulder at all times. A third eye that blazes with this light, pale energy. And you recognize that your fires do not they do not cease. They're always kind of here and there, not like hurting you or catching anything on fire. But yeah, you exude this constant energy now, as it is contained within this new persona. And you recognize that there is a hold that Kirid has on you, that he is Lord and that you are servant, and that should he desire something, you would have to fight very hard to go against that. You don't sense necessarily a malevolence behind that, but you sense the power of the personality that is now merged with you. And though you feel calm and no longer in pain, your energy is completely exhausted, and you fall into comfortable unconsciousness, which is joined not long after by Lunaris Lanente, whose own energies, though bolstered fundamentally, have been completely spent, and cool unconsciousness grips you as well.
As much as I figured.
And that's where we'll end it.
Be taking all kinds of naps, man.
Very nice.
Kinyaa'áanii stands at the forest's edge with his very lucky companion, Grimbald Silentfoot, the desiccated body of Mr. Gustav Durst, over his shoulder. Together the pair watch as the roof of Durst Manor is peeled away like bark from a tree, as the massive abyssal tentacle works to drag the structure into the dungeon below. They suddenly glimpse their companion, Zoltan Mordred III, struggling to his feet amidst the rubble of the upper floor. With bated breath, they can do little than watch to see what will become of their stoic bloodhunter companion in the next few seconds, as the earth below their feet trembles violently. And now, the continuation.
Quick question. Are we sure it was the earth beneath everybody's feet, or was it just our knees trembling because we were scared?
Well, I'll let you guys decide that individually for yourselves.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sure in the ground.
I'm sure Grimbald hanging by like the skin of his fingers, and getting plucked at the last second by Kinyaa'áanii. He might have having a little bit of knocking feet there, knocking knees, but
not boots.
Not boots. Yes, different dynamic there, relationship wise. So Grimbald and Kinyaa'áanii, you have basically Mr. Gustav Durst's body. Your guys are kind of moved a little bit away from where the manor is because the ground is slowly caving in, and the tentacle is obviously probably about 40 or 50 feet at this point. We'll say about 6 feet in diameter, so quite large. And so obviously 6 feet at some parts, and then kind of gets larger as it goes down, type of thing. And yeah, you're kind of at the forest's edge. The last thing that you guys saw was the roof sort of caving in and part of the tentacle peeling it away. You happen to see just as the rubble kind of brushes off, Zoltan getting to his feet up in the attic there, which is about 2 stories up, just under 2 stories lower than it used to be, having been partially dragged into the dungeon below. Sorry, give me 2 seconds to distracted me.
I forgot to bring up my stuff. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So, Zoltan, you black out for part of a second. You are not harmed. It was mostly just some of the roof above you kind of caving in, just by whether sheer luck or your own acrobatics checks from before. You managed to avoid most of the damage, but you are knocked prone temporarily, have a chance to get up. And before you is most of the attic has been ripped off. The tentacle has slammed back down, missing you by a few feet. And the corpses of Thorn and Rose are about 5-10 feet away from you. What would you like to do in this situation?
Are you speaking just to me, or was this to everybody?
Just to you for now.
Well, I'll kind of dust myself off and look behind and say, wow, I'm very fortunate to get out of here. I'm kind of saying this while trying to catch my breath. And I'm very thankful that I can escape from this treacherous situation. And so I'll walk over and pick up those two small bodies and try to find somewhere that I can bury them to follow through on my promise.
I should be clearer. Sorry, you're still in the house and it's still being dragged with the tentacle.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
No,
okay,
that's no problem. Like you're essentially, it's still being dragged out. You just kind of sort of like. So
can I basically open a window and step onto solid ground?
I will say that you're about 25 feet above the ground right now, above any solid ground. You have the tentacle kind of like wrapped and latched into the attic nearby, and it's dragging you down as it's sort of curled on the back end of the house. Where it kind of busted through the attic, what you can see is in the distance at the forest edge, you can see Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald sort of standing watching you. They're about, we'll say 60 feet away from where you are right now.
Okay.
But yeah, you are still kind of in the house being sucked down, and the bodies of the children are still in the attic where you managed to get.
Well, I'll pick up their bodies, like I was saying, because I wouldn't want any other poor soul to have this fate befall them.
Okay.
And am I able to, like when I look at a tentacle, does it look like it goes as it's kind of creeping its way back down into the earth? Is there a point on it that's close to the edge of solid ground? So would it be potentially possible for me to hop on that tentacle, run down as close as possible to solid ground, and jump off of it?
Yeah, okay. I can see it. So yeah, so essentially this thing has snaked its way kind of almost S pattern for the better half of the house that's still above ground, and part of it is in the attic with you. So I suppose, yeah, to some degree,
it feels like something that Legolas would do.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's possible. It's going to be difficult. Your other option would be to leap off of a 25, 30-foot roof and hope for the best. So I will allow you to. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you kind of.
Am I able to? Hang on for, I don't know, 30 seconds, whatever it takes for this to start crumbling, and then make a leap then, if the house is lower down, or is that not so plausible?
I'll say you have one round to do one thing before the floor beneath you essentially crumbles, and you know probably based on some of your carpentry that this house is not long for this world one way or the other. To wait might kill you. We'll say that.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will scoop up those poor souls and kind of meander my way to the edge there.
Okay.
Wait as long as I think is potentially possible.
All right.
I don't really want to toss them, so I'll keep them both over my shoulders. I think I'll have to toss them both over one shoulder, so I at least kind of have one arm free to grasp anything if need be.
Sure. Go ahead and give me an athletics check first to see just exactly how well you're managing to hold on to these kids.
Oh, that was so close. I'll give you an 8.
An 8. All right. I'm going to say that just based on your injuries and everything, you are still injured. I think you have 11 hit points from what I understand. You might be able to get one over the heaviest, so probably Rosvalda over your shoulder, and you'll probably have to just basically grasp on with one hand to Thorn. So you won't have any hands free, but yeah.
Okay.
So I'll allow you to make an acrobatics check to see how this plays out as you leap onto this tentacle, kind of Legolas sliding. Yeah, this is snakes and ladders. Let's just be honest. This is snakes and ladders on a massive abyssal tentacle. It's an interesting choice. I love it. I'd rather you do this than try to jump 30 feet out a window or roof. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's 3D damage.
Yes,
so
it's definitely going to be
damage. So.
Let's see what you roll here.
Where acrobatics? Oh, that was almost I'll give you a 7.
I'm going to give you advantage. Let's call it inspiration. I think that you chose a really fascinating idea, so I'll give you a chance to roll one more time to see how this plays out.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's bad.
No. What did you get?
You can look yourself.
Let's see here. What did we ruin? Oh, that's so funny. All right. No problem. Sounds good. So Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald, you watch as Zoltan struggles and seems injured and having a hard time trying to juggle two kids, dead kids at that, onto his shoulder and dragging one along. And at the last second, he hesitates. The floor sort of crumbles underneath of him, and he has a great idea, thinks that he can just sort of leap onto this tentacle and slide down. He does manage to get down maybe an extra 5 feet, but sort of makes a misstep, doesn't have any arms free to balance himself, totally off balance with these kids, and ends up falling down to the ground roughly. The only saving grace is that the tentacle kind of has a bit of a lip and he falls on the ground. The children kind of go sprawling and about 2 or 3 feet away from him. What would you guys like to do as this is happening?
I'm groaning in pain.
Speaking of which,
that's what I'm liking to do.
Let me go ahead and roll some damage for you.
Ooh, am I going to see this, or do I not see DM rolls on here?
I choose whether or not to show. I didn't show.
Okay.
You do take 4 points of damage currently.
Oh,
so I only gave you
3d6.
I only did 2d6 because you.
Okay, because I got a little bit lower. Gotcha.
Your acrobatics, yeah. It's. I thought it was fine to give you 5 feet less, essentially. So I did it at 20 feet. So.
I would assume Grimbald would go running right over.
All right. Sounds good.
I will as well.
All right. What are you guys going to do when you get there? You have, let's say, 2 corpses and a fairly severely injured but still conscious Zoltan before you.
I will roll a acrobatics roll to pick them up, maybe dust them off.
All right.
Then, let me do that first.
Let's go with athletics, but sure.
Athletics. Okay, good. Yeah. Let's do that.
10. Okay. Who are you going to go for? Are you going to go for Zoltan? Are you going to go for one of the kids?
I'm going to go for Zoltan.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, noble elf.
Zoltan, you have the strong hands of an elf, pick you up. It's rough and tumble at this point, and the ground beneath you is starting to slip and slide and begin to get dragged by the tentacle, and it's just sheer size and force. Grimbald, what are you going to do?
I'm going to take my crowbar and rope out. Tie the crowbar tie the rope to the crowbar, stick the crowbar into the ground, and throw the rope to them.
Nice. Okay. I like that. With that, I'll let you do another roll, Kinyaa'áanii, for your athletics.
Okay. Athletics and rolling again. 24.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, like just you're hyper aware of what's going on. That you understand the situation. You see the rope, grab it out of midair, hang on to Zoltan. I'll allow you to pick up one other person. The corpse of Thorn or the corpse of Rosevalda. Which one would you like to go for?
I'll do Rosevalda.
All right.
Yep.
And Zoltan, I'll let you do one action. What would you like to do?
Well, he's hanging on to me. Am I kind of like over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes or something?
It's more like he's grabbed you. He's kind of He's holding on to the rope kind of thing and has Rosevalda in one arm, and he's kind of just picked you up essentially. So he's kind of helping, but
okay,
he doesn't have you carried right now. He just picked you up.
I'll try to reach back with whichever arm is free and try to grab Thorn as well, because I'm thinking if we don't save all of them, then certainly somebody is going to die in here again, and we will have another army of puppets.
Sounds good. All right, go ahead and roll. And
athletics.
I'm going to make you athletics. Yeah.
Yep. 16.
All right, perfect. Yeah, you managed to grab Thorn and hoist him up. And just as you start to move, you realize that your foot is wrapped into some of the roots that are kind of ripped up out of the ground.
Okay.
You can do one of two things. You can try and escape the roots, or you can try and save Thorn.
And these roots are being dragged down as we speak. Is that right?
You're currently getting dragged down by them. They're sort of like something that kind of was unearthed and was probably growing around or under the tree, under the house, sort of thing. So
I have him in one hand. Mm-hmm. Do I have the other hand free as we speak?
I'm going to say you're using both hands to grab him and.
Okay, so I cannot kind of hoist him over one shoulder.
No.
Okay. Well, I will toss him as far as I humanly can towards Grimbald and attempt to untangle the roots if I can, but I'll try to toss him first.
Okay, sure. I'll say that that's part of your athletics check that you've already done.
Okay.
Kinyaa'áanii, you have hold of Rosevalda and the rope. We'll say those are the two things that you're doing right now. You realize, go ahead and give me a perception check, actually.
Okay, perception check.
Actually, Grim, do the same thing for me.
18.
Perfect.
$19.
Okay, you both, Zoltan's like hurt and he's just kind of, he's kind of in the zone of trying to survive at this moment. Grim, you're the first one that notices this. But though the ground and the earth and the noise that's been going on with this manor being dragged down by this tentacle, you hear something way more concerning. Whereas before it was sort of like shaking and rocking and, kind of being twisted down, you suddenly hear an underlying roar throughout the ground, and it's becoming bigger and bigger. Kinyaa'áanii, you notice it as well. You also notice it's more like the tremor in the earth. There's something under the earth that some cataclysm or something that's building. You can't quite tell exactly what it is, but you know that if you don't move from this position, you're not sure you guys are going to make it. What would you like to do? You have one more turn, one more round to do something.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, we want to get out of there.
Yeah.
And does do we have the other person that is down? The other
So Zoltan is basically stuck. You know that he's stuck by the roots, and he's basically just tossed Thorn as far as he can. I'll say he probably got about 10 feet from away, sort of thing. You can try and stop and help Zoltan get out, or you can escape with Rosevalda. You can't do both.
Okay. I will go ahead and escape with Rosevalda.
All right. Grimbald, what would you like to do? Thorn lands maybe 15 feet from you, we'll say.
I think I'm pulling out my short sword and I'm going to help. Zoltan.
Okay, sounds good. So this is essentially how it works. Zoltan tosses Thorn and goes down to try and release himself from the ground. Kinyaa'áanii, you hold onto the rope. The footing underneath of you starts to give way. Zoltan begins to get sucked down about 5 feet into the ground. Grimbald, you start move towards Kinyaa'áanii and Zoltan in particular to try and help. When suddenly the ground heaves, it rises about 10-15 feet. Zoltan, his footing sort of loosened by the sudden rising, and out of nowhere, suddenly a figure appears next to you, Zoltan. A man, tall, gaunt, black hair, slicked back, eyes red and glowing. And just as he grasps onto you, he suddenly the mists around you coalesce and you disappear into the woods. And just as this happens, Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald, the ground erupts, sinking down, and an explosion of fire, blue and purple flames, cause you to fly backwards into the forest, the bodies of Thorn and Rosevalda flying with you, and all goes black for just a moment.
The doom music starts.
Wouldn't that be nice? I also wanted to show you this. Sorry, I was supposed to do that in this form. Got a new little thing that I set up. Hopefully it works. Go ahead and talk, each one of you, for a second.
Hello.
Let's test.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I got you guys' faces animated. I was supposed to show you that earlier. That's okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so all right, so we're gonna just start off.
Is it kind of just randomly moving their mouths, or is it trying to mimic what we're saying?
No, it's just a GIF essentially. So whenever you guys talk, it activates the GIF part, and it's just different frames that are kind of repeating. I think it's like 9 or 10 frames each. So it's pretty generic, but yeah, that's how I set it up. So it took me a long time to make them, but kind of fun. All right, we're going to start off with Grimbald.
Yes.
Grimbald, you find yourself in a somewhat familiar landscape as you awaken from the darkness. This is reminiscent of when you were falling in the mists, except it's strangely different as well. You're on the ground. The earth beneath your feet is essentially dust, a desert, very little water. And so what is strange about the mist is that there's no real humidity to it. It's dry, a dry fog, if you will, that surrounds you. No matter where you go, it is sort of an ashen plain of desert with no real end to the horizon. And the mist seems to just go on and on forever. Not too far away from you, you realize, is a familiar book.
Ooh.
A tome made of ashes, except this time it seems to glow with a reddish energy in different spots. The front of it looks similar from before. It's sort of like a a mechanical panel that you can twist that has different segments on top of it.
And it's not the same book. It's a different one.
It's the same book, but it just looks like a different configuration than you have previously.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'm going to attempt to open.
All right. As you pick it up to open it, you're sort of idly twisting the top. It seems like almost like a modern like twist lock that you'd have like on your locker or something like that, but with 3 different segments, each sort of in a weird kind of isometric kind of style. And what you notice out of the corner of your eye is underneath the book was also a familiar ring, and just sitting in the dust.
I'm going to pick up the ring as well.
Good. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to put it in my pocket again for like the 5th time and hope for the best.
All right. Go ahead and give me a... I'm trying to remember if it's a +2, +3. It would be +3. So give me a dexterity check.
An 8.
All right. Yeah, so you're kind of just fuddling around with it. The mechanics in this is fairly advanced. You can tell it's sort of like a puzzle. You realize that some of the platforms have different symbols sort of all around the base. And then the second piece has different symbols that seem to want to match, except you just don't know what they mean. They're sort of like random symbols of a different language, essentially. So you can kind of essentially deduce that you would have to match up a proper combination. You're not sure, you're not necessarily hearing anything, click or anything like that. It's sort of a fairly smooth surface. So what you imagine you have to do is you have to line up a certain set of symbols, and you might have to do it a couple of different times. That's basically the way that this thing might work. Right now, all you're doing is kind of spinning them and be like, kind of like almost like a weird Rubik's Cube, almost.
Yeah, I'll keep going, and I'll put the ring on.
All right, sounds good. As you do so, a familiar figure, this time a lot less ghostly than the last time you saw him, pops up. And he sort of smiles somewhat kindly to you, a little bit of sadness in his eyes. And he says, "Hello, Grimbald." Oops.
Hello.
For you is Asher of Candlekeep.
Okay, why are you bringing Twilight vampires into this?
This is how he looked before. This is what AI had just determined that he looked like. This is Jax's brother, Asher. But yes, a fairly good-looking fellow. We'll say, say that, I guess. What would you like to say or do?
I guess I'm kind of shocked at first. What are you doing here?
That is an excellent question, my small friend. I'm not sure I completely understand it myself. The fact that I'm alive in any sense sort of shocked me to begin with. It has something to do with this book, though.
And how do I open this book?
I spent the better part of 3 weeks trying to solve the last puzzle that was on this tome. It looked nothing like what you see now. It had panels that I had to shift and move. Whether it was luck or the paladin, so-called paladin, that unlocked it last time, he must have just put in the last combination, the last piece, and by doing so, it opened the tome randomly. From what I gathered about the tome itself, it had something to do with the planes of dread, which is a part of the multiverse.
Planes of Mordred?
Not Mordred. Just dread. Less dread. No, just kidding. So he basically explains to you that he had been doing research, recognizing that some sort of artifact that had an immense amount of knowledge about the multiverse, and that was centered in the planes of dread, was available, or somewhere in the material world, and he had been tracking it down after finding out of its existence. He couldn't help himself but essentially try and figure out the puzzles or the combination that's on the front of the tome itself. He goes on to say, as far as I can tell, it not only has an anchor in this world, which is, from what I can tell, where we are, an aspect of it, but by opening it, those who are in the area or have been connected to the tome become bound to it in some way. And since I died, my essence was, I don't know exactly how it works, but I was determined to persist and continue on, and it seemed to anchor me to my ring. And so the combination of whatever magic is going on with this ashen tome and my own, shall we say, stubbornness to keep living led us here. And you just happened to be in the area when it happened.
Do you still think this book is evil?
If it comes from, or if it's anchored in the planes of dread, I don't see how that could possibly be a good thing. I have to admit, my desire for looking at the tome and unlocking it was foolish of me. I thought if I could understand it, then I could keep the world safe from its knowledge. Knowledge itself isn't necessarily evil. How one uses it, I would say, is what makes that knowledge good or bad. With that being said, I'm not sure if I'll be able to continue to persist without opening that tome once more. I can already feel whatever magic or energy that it was fueling me with before that allowed me to help you escape and allowed me to say goodbye to my sister. I can tell it's fading. This seems to be the last of my energies.
If this is the last time we speak, what shall I give to your sister?
He kind of thinks on that and kind of smiles and says, to be honest, I don't know if she is still alive. Last I saw her, she was trapped in the basement below that death house. I tried to stay, but the ring called me back. I think perhaps it was a distance thing. The further away you got, the more my spirit was confined to a certain distance from what I could tell. He kind of looks you over and as much as he's sort of kind of bothered by the idea of his sister having died, he can't help but stare at you all of a sudden. He's like, is there something about your heritage that has some connect to the mystical or the magical? I feel like something happened when the tome opened that allowed us to be connected as we are. And I'm not certain that it was just the tome itself. There's something about you and your bloodline or something. I don't know how to explain it. There's just a feeling that I get that there's something there.
I don't know much about my bloodline.
I know about blood. Sorry.
You don't say. Starts cutting himself again. Let me try one more thing. I do have to, in case this doesn't work, I implore you to find my sister. If she's dead, then do right by her. Ask Lunaris, perhaps, to bury her and give her proper rite of passing. I don't even know if we were close, but we never really talked about those sorts of things very often. The gods and such. We both just simply have a love of knowledge. But if you do see her, tell her that I love her. And I charge you with her protection. You're her brother now. Asher will kind of walk up to you and he will put his hand on your shoulder and he starts muttering an arcane language. And as his eyes open, he stares at you anew and he sort of says under his breath, I see it now. There's something in your blood. There's something in who you are. It's locked deep inside. I think I can... He sort of reaches out for you and puts his hand on your forehead. And you feel a tingling throughout your body. There's something locked in here. A potential maybe you don't know you have. I'm going to try to... As he says those words, a sharp pain goes through your body. Your eyes open up and you see your own hands rise. And you can tell that there's a strange sort of energy coursing through your own blood.
What is that?
You have some latent power, Grimbald. Reach out for it. I think I've expended all I can. As he says this, you can tell his form is beginning to fade. Remember, just protect my sister. And as he says this, whatever was of Asher of Candlekeep seems to dissipate into the mists around you. Would you like to?
Asher's gone.
Yeah.
I will maybe look around.
Okay.
See if I see anything.
Yeah, you still see a plain of sort of ashen desert all around you with the mists. As you sort of examine your own body, you can tell that something is there, just at your fingertips. You're not sure exactly what it is, but there's sort of a hum in your hands.
And I'm guessing the book's on the ground now.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm just gonna try and like maybe reach out with both hands towards like nothingness, I guess.
Sounds good. Let me see here. I just want to check something right quick about your character sheet here. Here. Go ahead and give me a charisma roll for me.
$17.
Nice. You suddenly feel a force in your own hand, and instinctively you kind of reach out for it and grasp onto it. A sort of spectral blade comes into your hand. It seems to hum with a certain energy. You realize that it's coming from within you, whether it's instinctual for you to have created a blade, and as you kind of mess with it, you can kind of shape it into a different form. It's very vague at first, but the more that you concentrate, the more it becomes an image that you essentially want. It can be sort of a short sword or a small rapier. The more you kind of mess with it, and the more you desire it to look, the more it has that effect. And as you kind of play with the energy in your other hand, another one sort of pops in, and you realize that whatever Asher unlocked or discovered, you realize that you have some kind of psionic or mental capacity to produce these at will. You realize that it sort of drains you as you do so. But yeah, suddenly you realize there was something truly latent and powerful within you after all. The more you begin to produce this energy, you realize that your body is becoming more and more sapped, and you realize that the rumble and the loudness of the world beyond this plane that you currently reside begins to impress upon you more and more, and you hear fire. And as it does so, it calls to you. You feel your body weaken, you grasp onto the ashen tome, and you slip into darkness once more. Kinyaa'áanii,
Hey.
we'll continue with you. Kinyaa'áanii, you awaken to have a vision. Before you is a sort of familiar goblinoid. You don't recognize him at first because he's extremely weak, kind of pathetic looking. He's being roughhoused by some other goblins. So much so that he's actually rendered pretty close to unconscious, on the verge of death. A sudden explosion happens. The other goblins flee from the scene. And this injured goblin, curious, gets up, severely injured, and walks towards the explosion. Before him are 2 shards of amber, ones that you are somewhat familiar with. He grasps onto them, and the energy that courses through him rises through his body and into his eyes as they glow familiar amber. Your old friend who you fought previously.
Mm.
You realize that what you're seeing are flashbacks. They're memories, although not your memories. You see a series of flashbacks of this goblinoid creature as he returns to his tribe. Empowered, he slays those who had bullied him. The more he kills, the more he becomes powerful. Eventually, you see a flashback of him becoming the leader of a tribe, and a call to the east seems to beckon his soul. He hears a soft voice within these daggers calling to him, wanting to be whole. He knows that some of these shards, similar to these daggers that he's fashioned, that one of them he knows for sure is in the east. He begins to go through the jungles with his tribe, overcoming, despite being a small goblin, many other creatures in this sort of jungle area, until he finds a tribe of wood elves. He begins slaughtering them, seeking one in particular, one he knows has a similar shard of amber. You realize that this same goblin tribe was responsible for your family's death, the tribe of the Kinyaa'áanii, who have perished. You get another flashback. This time it's of your own self. You're a very young elf growing up, perhaps 10 years old, very young for an elf, since you've lived some time. You see before you in the forest, as you had in the past been keen on wandering far from your own village. And before you, you saw a man, at least you thought it was a man, severely damaged, hurt, decaying. First, as you walk up to him, you think he is dead, and in his hand is a warhammer. And as you are curious, you walk over, and he sort of struggles to roll over, and he sees you. There's a shard of amber stuck fast into his chest. He seems delirious. He also seems like a corpse that is somehow still alive. Black blood oozing from his mouth. He coughs, and seeing you, he beckons you over. Whether your own curiosity or some sort of magical compulsion, you come near him, and he hands you his warhammer. And as he does so, he rips the shard of amber out of his chest and places it into the head of the warhammer. And as it does so, it melts and melds with it. This was the first time, long ago, so far now that you had almost forgotten about it, that you recognized the possession of your warhammer that seemed to always be with you. As he seems to pass away, finally, whatever he's done to you, you know, has some sort of magic that he's tied you with this warhammer. And ever since, you've just always had it with you. And as he begins to die, you get one more flashback. As the flashback begins, you hear the name. Sorry, give me a second. You hear the name Kundun, shattered corpse star. It whispers to you now. And in your hand, you see this amber orb, perfectly created. You get these quick scenes, not just of your having fashioned it, but you realize that you are not you again. You are this undead creature, whether a magician or warlock or sorcerer, you're not sure. And you stare at this amber orb with great hatred, deep into your bones, into your soul. And as you place it on a pedestal, you realize around you you are in this amber sort of tomb with these dark forces, these sarcophagi that pulse with this amber light, this amber energy, and these dark, sort of horrific, inky creatures within them. In the center of this sort of tomb is a pedestal, and you place this orb onto it. And in your hands, you have a warhammer, very familiar to yourself. With all the hatred in the world, you bring your hammer down, and it shatters the orb. Go ahead and give me a charisma saving throw, please.
Charisma.
Yeah, it's on the top left, just under the strength and dexterity, window underneath that.
Okay. 17.
Nice. All right. The flashback ends. Before you is a massive silhouette, a star. And as you look closer and closer to it, you realize that this star is made of corpses, woven together and emitting a dark, dreaded light. The corpses seem to sort of be stitched together to resemble that of a face. And the face seems to speak to you. It says, "Greetings. I am Kundun, the corpse star." What would you like to do?
Guess I will do let's see. Maybe an insight? Hmm. Yeah, I'll do an insight.
All right, sounds good.
13.
All right. You're staring at this silhouette of a star made of corpses, trying to determine exactly what its intentions are. And the more you stare at it, the more you're convinced that whatever magic is housed within your Warhammer, that it seems to exude from whatever this being is. There's something else, though. Whereas before, every time you have interacted with the Warhammer, you've always been enraged, hateful. Whatever is around you, you feel compelled to destroy it. That's not the case when you just look straight at this being. It seems almost devoid of that hatred and simply exudes some level of awesome power. The being will speak once more to you and say, I understand that you wield pieces of myself. So yeah, he's basically told you his name is Kundun, the corpse star, that in one way or the other, you possess pieces of who he is. How would Kinyaa'áanii respond to you? Respond to him?
I would say, like, why is that so?
It's a good question. It is a tale that is long, perhaps for another day. What I can tell you is that my powers, when whole, are great. I seek to be whole, and I propose that you make me so. Gather the shards of amber, make me whole, and I will grant you great power. I've seen the same flashes in your mind that you just have. I know that the creature, Dagger, was what they called him, this goblin, that he slaughtered your family, your tribe, that you are the last of the Kinyaa'áanii. If you make me whole, I can make your tribe whole once more.
Make him whole. I don't know what that means.
Gather the amber shards together. The orb that you saw, similar to that in the dungeon of the Death House, that's what it is supposed to look like. The amber shards, those that are currently within your Warhammer, they want to come together. It is my will that they be so. Some of them exist here in Barovia. If you find all of them, they will become whole. And if you do so, if you make me whole again, I will grant you the wish of your heart, which is to never be alone, for your people to return, for the Kinyaa'áanii to exist once more, just as they were before Dagger murdered them.
So I will find the rest of the pieces that are missing to reclaim my tribe?
Yes. So basically what he's explaining is if you collect all the shards of amber that are sort of beginning to come together in your Warhammer right now, if you collect all the other pieces and do so, then it will basically make him whole. It'll make him more than just an apparition, more than just a mirage or a dream or whatever you're having right now. And he will gain his power back, and he'll use that power to resurrect all of your family members.
Well, I believe that should be what is it to them if they do, like like why are they doing this for me, I should say. What is it is it for them, like what is it, what do they have to gain from it, what do they get in return?
Go ahead and give me an insight check one more time.
Okay, insight. 4.
4? Okay. He says that one whom he had granted his wish before did not like the way that the wish came about. He says that in his anger and with the cunning and guile and power of some other wizards, managed to take some of his essence and trap it into the amber orb. And then through his hatred, he destroyed that orb. And it sent pieces across the realms. Without him being whole, not only is he limited in any power that he has, that he himself is missing a piece of himself, but the shards are dangerous, not because of his magic, but because of the hatred of the wizard that destroyed him. It tainted all the different shards, and those who hold on to them become poisoned with his rage. Not only would he become whole himself, being granted a measure of his power back, and gain his freedom, which he freely shares with you. That's his goal. But he can also help you with your power, with your loss, and be free from the sorrow that comes with being the last of his tribe. Last of your tribe.
Well, I will take that response and will gather these rest of these pieces and reclaim my tribe.
Excellent. Know that there is one in Barovia who has found one of the shards. He is an elf, not unlike yourself. I do not know his name, but I can feel that he is called to the Amber Temple, which you saw in that vision. Collect all the pieces in Barovia and come to this Amber Temple to reassemble them. A good portion of those shattered pieces remain there, where this cataclysm occurred in the first place. I will be waiting for you there. And as he does so, as he's talking, his silhouette begins to shrink and he begins to float into the sky. You no longer see the individual corpses that are knit into his his body or his being of this star as he begins to pull away from you. Consciousness begins to fade along with him, and you find yourself in darkness and sleep once more. Okay. Zoltan Mordred III.
Yes, sir.
This is what I want. You are awakened by the sound of flames. At first, you're a little spooked that they might be the flames of the explosion that you had just witnessed for a brief second before being knocked unconscious by the sheer force of power that washed over all of you. But instead, it is a small campfire, and beside it sits a dark figure.
Yes.
One that is somewhat familiar.
Mm-hmm.
He looks somber, staring into the flames, waiting. And as you, even if you are attempting to be quiet and not alert him to your presence, he speaks and says, "You're awake. Excellent. I was just perusing some interesting information that one of my servants had said was on your person. Shall I read it to you?"
I would like to hear that from you, but that is unlike regular Vistani customs to raid a man of his belongings.
Well, I am not Vistani, of course. Forgive me, I should introduce myself. I am Strahd von Zarovich. I believe this letter in your possession. It speaks of me, though not directly.
Well, if you believe that you are in the contents of the letter, please go ahead and read it.
There. You guys will be able to read this, but
It's a little small.
that's okay. I'll read it. So he reads this out loud to you, and it's clear that he's read it a couple of times, but reading it out loud seems to help him, figure out exactly what it's saying. And so you've already read this letter yourself, but it says, "Zoltan, child of my sister, long since passed. It is with joy and sadness that I write this letter to you. Joy because I have discovered that you are indeed a distant relation of mine, only recently revealed. Sadness because I must reveal a truth kept hidden for far too long. You see, Zoltan, you are not who you think you are. You are not the child of the noble family that raised you. Though I know Mordred will be your name, you are in truth the son of a Vistani woman, whose ancestor bore a bastard child of King of Barovia, another than myself. Your bloodline is that of the Vistani and of kings. You are a child of Barovia, just as much as myself, and another I dare not write about." At this, Strahd pauses, a slight smirk on his face. He continues. It is here that we reside, and here we must remain until freed. I grieve that this truth was kept from you, but it was done to protect you from the curse tied to your blood. You have a noble heart and a strong will, and I have no doubt that you will do great things in this world. But I also know that the power of blood calls to you in ways others cannot understand. The curse of Barovia is still strong, and the fates have revealed that the mists desire you here for reasons I know not of. I am a teller of fortunes, not a meddler, but in this case I implore you to flee if you can. Enclosed is a Taroka card, meant to warn you of your destiny. Should you come here, it will not be easy for you to escape its grasp. You must be strong, Zoltan. Stay far from this place. But knowing fate as I do, should you come to Barovia by your will or another's, seek me out. I have much to tell you, and much to teach you about your true heritage. Until then, may the fates watch over you. Sincerely, Madame Eva. This is a fascinating turn of events, he says, looking deeply into you.
Go on.
I admit that Madame Eva and we have a tenuous relationship, but never did I understand that she was, in fact, my sister, as this letter seems to imply. That she is the child, bastard as she may be, of my father, King Barov. I admit I don't know how to feel about this. And knowing that you are also of my blood, of my father's blood, to yet another Vistani woman, it is difficult for me to understand, let alone see you here and not want to destroy you.
It seems like your father isn't the man you thought he was.
Yes, it does seem that way. He gets up from the fire and kind of walks another few paces away from you and sort of stares off into the mists that surround this area of the forest. As you look around, you notice that not only do Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald lay unconscious, sleeping perhaps, not too far away from the fire next to you, but the corpses of Gustav, Rosevalda, and Thornbolt Durst also happen to be laid somewhat respectfully to the side.
Sorry, could you repeat that? It kind of cut out there.
So just to the side of the fire is Grimbald and Kinyaa'áanii, and then the corpses of Gustav, Thornbolt, and Rosevalda are about 20 yards away, not even 20 feet away,
Wait, so he's gone? I wanted to say something else to him.
No, he's still there. He's just sort of
good.
standing. I'm just sort of giving you a lay of the land, kind of. Yeah. But yeah, so he's sort of just standing, looking in the mists, and yeah, so you have Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald right next to you, right next to the fire, and yeah, the three corpses not too far off as well.
Okay. Is he saying anything else, or he's kind of just looking off in the distance?
Yeah, he's just kind of, doing his own thing, thinking.
Okay. Well, I will say to him, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a ransom, I can tell you, I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let the people around this campfire go, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
He looks back at you with a sort of vicious smile on his face. His form seems to darken. The flames that sort of lighten upon his skin, making it look almost human, seem to die. The light seems to die upon them, and he shows something of a grotesque, true undead nature. Powerful energy glows within his red orbs, and he chuckles under his breath. You think you can kill me, Zoltan Mordred III? So many have tried. Even I, myself, have sought centuries for a way to end my own torment. I have slept decades. I have fasted centuries. I am the ancient. I am the land. Truly, I cannot be killed. Suddenly his features soften, and he sort of looks off into the distance again. His voice is not as harsh, and he says, I have much to think about here. Your arrogance, it reminds me of my own. To be honest, Zoltan, I am tired of this place. I am Lord here. Nothing is without my knowledge or without my power under it. But I seek something more. I seek freedom, Zoltan. And until now, I did not think that was possible. Perhaps you can help me. I must think on these things. He begins to walk away into the mists.
Good luck.
Luck, he says over his shoulder. There is no such thing. If there is one thing that I agree with Madame Eva, is that fate will have its day. You may stay here in my Barovia, but know that you stay because I wish it. And should you desire to leave, you shall do so only through me. At that, his silhouette merges into the mist, and you see a dark form, smaller, rise up into the sky and disappear.
Okay.
So yeah, you have your unconscious companions. You aren't exactly sure where you are. Takes you a couple minutes to sort of reorient. It looks, as you kind of watch your companions as they rest, it looks like they're experiencing a dream or something like that. And it's not long that both Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald, you guys wake up to hear the crackle of flames. Your companion Zoltan, sort of nearby, seemingly unharmed for the most part. And yeah. The bodies of Gustav, Rosevalda, and Thornbull Durst not far away.
Good morning, gentlemen. You seem to have some fairly unrestful sleep there.
Yes, I dreamed of Asher again.
Asher, is this the brother of Jax we speak of?
It is.
Why? I thought he's been dead for a long time now.
He thought so too. So did I.
Did you say he thought so too? As in, he no longer is dead?
Him. I don't exactly know. He disappeared.
Okay. Well, shall we carry on with our task at hand here?
What is our task?
Plating the burial of these young ones and their father.
If you think it'll help.
I think so. Was there a cemetery just outside of the mansion or anything?
No, not really.
Okay.
There was a barn at one point there. You guys seem to be quite a bit deeper into the forest from where you originally were. The mist sort of... It's nighttime right now. But yeah, the mist seemed to have kind of covered your area, so it's kind of hard to know exactly where you are in relation to where you were near Durst Manor previously.
Can we try to figure out which way the road is?
Sure. Go ahead and somebody or both of you or all three of you can give me a survival check.
Okay, survival. 7.
14?
All right.
No.
All right. Yeah, you guys are still a little disoriented. You and Kinyaa'áanii and Grimbald, you're still kind of disoriented. You're not exactly sure if you just got kind of a knock on the head or if the energy that seemed to cascade and kind of throw you guys from the explosion just sort of discombobulated you. But Zoltan, you've been kind of awake for a little bit longer than them. It took them about 20 or 30 minutes to kind of come to on their own. You are pretty sure that you are still deeper into the forest, maybe 500-600 meters from the manor. You think you're probably east of where you were, deeper into the backyard of the manor's home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should
would
we
you guys
bury
say?
them here?
Pardon me?
Should we bury them here?
I think that we should probably try to bury the whole family together, and we don't have the mom here, so maybe if we have any burlap sacks or anything, we can just bundle them up and take them with us on our way to the road.
I do not have any.
Look at my bag. Here's what I've got.
I mean, I suppose you guys could probably use your bedroll or something like that to
Roll
roll them up, I guess. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. We can pick some up in town easily enough.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
works.
I'd love to do that. There's 3 of them, I guess. 1 bedroll per.
Yeah, if you guys want to get rid of your bedrolls to do that, I'm fine with that.
Are you two both happy with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Hobbit doesn't give up his bed.
It just happens to be a perfect fit for Thornbold. All right. So you guys going to kind of head back towards where the road is to the west?
Let's do that. I think that's the
Mhm.
best idea.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. As you guys are kind of traveling the forest, it's a little bit of a trek, not too crazy, but takes you about 20 minutes. And as you get closer to where Zoltan is confident was Durst Manor, you recognize a severe amount of damage that has wrought upon the forest around you. There is the charred remains of dozens and dozens of trees, and the closer you get to where you were sure was Durst Manor, the more the damage is severe. Not just a forest fire, but you recognize that some of the fires, sort of, though they've been burnt down, there are sort of ashes and coals and such on the ground that it makes it a little bit more difficult to walk in this area. You have to kind of pick your steps more and more until you come to something of a clearing, and the sight that you see shocks each and every one of you. Where Durst Manor and the grounds once were housed is a massive crevice within the ground. It essentially is carved out and lengthways across the grounds, having consumed not just the home and the stonework that was, there was like the gate and everything that was there to the north, but also the small stables that once existed as well. And it goes for about 200 feet in length and reaches about 70 or 80 feet deep, 80 feet across, and sort of tapers down to a 50-foot gully. Purple flames sort of continue to spatter, and as you're kind of traveling, you realize dawn is starting to come, and below you see 2 familiar figures, Lunaris and Jax of Candlekeep. Somehow have survived the cataclysm, though they are in this trench or this crevice within the ground, seemingly unconscious.
That's where they went. Wonder if we can go pick them up.
Yes, let's go.
How far down there are they?
They're about 50 feet, so it's going to be something of a climb. Who all wants to try and get down there? And how do you want to get down there?
Well, I'm pretty beat up, unless if I am recovered at all from our ordeal. And I think you two are both better climbers than me, as far as I know. Not trying to volunteer you. But that's exactly what I'm doing.
I can climb down.
Okay. Yanni, what were you wanting to do?
I'll climb down as well.
All right. Are you guys just kind of just climbing down bare hands and everything like that? Or are you using anything to help you get down? Or?
I'm pretty sure in the explosion my rope is gone. So
yes, it does seem
I'm
to be missing.
Just crawling down my bare hands.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Give me a couple of athletics checks, please.
Okay. All right, 6.
Okay.
And it's 7.
All right. It's just you take a bit of a tumble here and there. The ground is extremely unstable. You don't fall or anything like that, but it takes you some time to kind of really pick your footing and get down to the ground level. It's clearly quite treacherous in this area. As you guys finally hit the bottom, Zoltan, what are you doing whilst they're sort of picking their way down here? Are you doing anything in particular?
Did Grimbald use his grappling hook up here at all, or no?
His rope seems to have been missing just from the explosion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha. I will keep an eye on them and try to bandage my wounds up and place the bodies in an area far enough away so that there's no chance of them escaping. And I'll also look through my medical stores just in case I can do anything to help our two wounded companions.
All
also,
right.
do we happen to see the body of the mother there?
Good question. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay, perception. 2.
You got a 2 for your perception check?
I did, yeah.
Okay. You see nothing. You see... you're even sort of like, oh, wow, this is... it's smoky around here, dang. You don't see anything too indicative of another body or anything like that. It is quite a sight to see basically an entire massive house that was Durst Manor seemingly obliterated on top of what you imagine to be the remnants of the dungeon below as well. So yeah, it's pretty spectacularly crazy. Grimbald and Kinyaa'áanii, as you finally make it to the crevice's floor, you sort of approach Jax and Lunaris. Both are unconscious, but something very disturbing about Jax seems to stand out to both of you. Though they appear to be unharmed by them, Jax seems to exude a sort of ghostly purple flame, sort of present in multiple areas of her body. It sort of cascades around her. Little edges of light blue light seem to like lick on the tips of the flames as well. She basically glows constantly, with the flames that are exuding from her body. You also notice that Lunaris's arms up to their elbows are caked with some sort of char, and their hands themselves look like they've been burnt quite severely. They look like they are sweating profusely, and yeah, obviously, whatever went down here, it seems to have harmed at least one of the companions. The other one looks pretty messed up because of whatever happened as well. What would you like to do?
Are you guys okay down there?
What?
Huh? What? Speak up.
I said, are you guys okay down there?
Oh, shucks.
They're dead.
They're dead.
You're dead? Who's dead? You're dead?
Excuse me.
I know that
goodness.
Rose and Thorn are dead. That's why their bodies are up here.
Go ahead and one of you give me a medicine check.
Yeah, I don't feel like I should be touching Jax right now with those colors. What did I get? 22.
Oh,
Grimbald, they are definitely not dead.
that's funny.
That's right.
You literally got a perfect 20 too. That's so amazing about that. It's like it's very clearly not dead, but you're still gonna be like, they're dead. Oh shit. So basically you have your companions certainly unconscious. Grimbald, as you kind of just take a once over, they do seem to be breathing. Other than that, the flames certainly give you a little bit of hesitation, as if it didn't look like Lunaris was charred to bits, maybe it wouldn't be so disturbing to have your other friend lit on fire, essentially. But yeah, they don't seem to be consuming her anyway. Jax, I mean.
I guess I'm going to attempt to try and wake Lunaris up.
You kind of give him a bit of a shake, and all right. So Lunaris looks like they have their hair kind of singed, and their body looks like it's devoid of water, clearly dehydrated and scorched from flames. But yeah, still alive, kind of shallow breathing. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pick him up and get him out of here.
All right.
And should I roll athletics?
Sure.
Okay.
Are you gonna be trying to climb with them there? Or?
Never mind. They're gonna have to hold put. I can only lift probably one of them up.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for you to carry them up out of this place without any rope or anything like that.
Do you need a hand?
No, I have an extra finger.
I need a hand. Get our group back up this hill.
Great work, guys.
Zoltan,
There's still dead up here.
You have clearly a couple of so I'll say, Kinyaa'áanii, you can kind of drag your companions to the foot of the crevice and everything like that, but climbing with them right now definitely seems like it'll be a pretty difficult task without some sort of rope or something like
Yeah.
that.
I've got a rope I can toss down to them in my bag here.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and give me another athletics check, but this time with advantage. So we'll say that Zoltan is essentially helping, and Grimbald, I assume you'll be kind of helping tie and secure your friends.
Yeah.
It might be just one at a time, trying to get them up, trying to, carry two people up with Zoltan might be a bit difficult, but so yeah, go ahead and give me 2 more athletics checks, Kinyaa'áanii.
Got 2 more athletics. 1 hit. All right, something a little better. 10 and a 12.
All right. Yeah, I'll say it takes you guys, like when all 3 of you are kind of working together at this, takes you about 2 hours to really work them slow slog up this, each individually up this crevice, picking your way up yourselves and everything like that. In fact, Grimbald, go ahead and give me an athletics check as well, just for argument's sake.
Okay. 14.
So yeah, you're able to make it up yourself without too much difficulty. But yeah, as you kind of all, secure them, kind of rope them up, each individually. Eventually, you guys make them up to the top, and you have fairly severely injured companions. 3 corpses. You guys didn't see another corpse down there either, for Mrs. Gustav Durst, but Mrs. Elizabeth Durst rather. It looks like based on Grimbald kind of seeing their injuries and their states, you figure it's going to take you at least another day of recovery for them to maybe come to, that sort of thing. What would you guys like to do for the next day or so?
What if I try to make my way to the town, see if I can hire a carriage to come back and pick them up and bring them to an inn so they can rest indoors somewhere safer than out here?
It's a good idea.
Sure, if you want to do that.
And it would probably be a good idea for Kinyaa'áanii to stay here with Grimbald and the wounded companions. I'm guessing that would be the best case of action or whatever.
Yeah, I think since it could possibly be safe, I might as well take at least a rest and maybe gain some energy back to help our friends further if they need assistance.
That's a good call. I might take a short rest before we go.
Short rest, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Sure. All right. Are you guys going to be trying to dig some graves for these guys, or are you going to wait for your companions to wake up? Like that?
I'd say we wait for them to wake up because I don't know if this is the best spot, and we don't even have the 4th body yet.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll say you guys have the opportunity to rest a little bit, get some of your hit points back. We'll end there for now, and we will pick this up. I believe we're going to be meeting 2 weeks from now, if I understand correctly. Is that
the 8th, I believe?
I believe that's the 8th, yes. Yep, the 8th.
Yeah.
Because I know that Shanna has I think she has her full moon thing set for next week. And
is she a werewolf?
No, I think it's just a celebration that they do.
No, she's actually a witch.
Oh! There you go. But yeah. So yeah. But hopefully that was entertaining for you guys. Thanks for joining in. I will endeavor to get these all this sort of edited and put up over the next week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. Well, thanks, Michael. That was good today.